The first 64-bit iPhone and the first not tiny phone without touch disease iPhone, head to head. Okay, so some of you might be thinking, why the 2 generation leap gap thing in the middle? And that's because the 6 had quite a bad rap on touch disease and bendgate, and so we kind of dismiss the 6 as being like the beta version of the 6S. And the reason to go with the 5S versus the 6S is mainly because my girlfriend is changing from the 5S and buying my 6S, so I thought it would be a cool video to make. The boxy design and chamfered edges of the 5S do contrast with the more elegant rounded edges and bold antenna lines of the iPhone 6S, which is the larger handset. And although I do appreciate a larger phone, you know, I've used 5.5, 6-inch phones in my past, and I feel like they definitely have their place in the market, I can really appreciate 4.7-inch phones due to the fact that they're the more average kind of, yeah, I'll probably get one of those. And with the 4-inch phones, I can appreciate those as well. The ability to one hand that is super easy, and you can almost put it in a pocket and forget that it's there because it's just so small. I really like the smaller form factors, but I do also prefer the larger form factors. The bold antenna lines on the 6S may not be to everyone's taste. I actually think they look pretty good, and they do kind of cut out the more otherwise boring design. I feel like they really do kind of give it, especially with the rose gold color, it gives it more of kind of a shape and more of a frame to the design. The flat edges of the 5S can scratch up easy, so be wary. Both screens are 326 pixels per inch, meaning they are both literally the same sharpness. Like if you held one right up to your face and the other right up to your face, you couldn't tell the difference in sharpness. And anyone who says that they can is lying, because scientifically it's not possible. Both of them are IPS as well, which means better viewing angles than pretty much any other display on the market, and excellent true to life colors, which is something that a lot of people tend to overlook when looking through smartphones, and they tend to go for the more OLED kind of crazy looking displays, which arguably are better, but I actually do like IPS because I do like the color accuracy. Neither of which are really hugely HD. They're well below 1080p. However, they are really crisp for what they are, and I feel like they're good displays. Obviously, they're nothing like a QHD device like a Samsung S6 or S7, but they're good enough for what they are, and they really do sip battery life, and that's probably the best thing about having a low-res display. And this isn't low-res by any means, it's just not 1080p or QHD. The 12-megapixel f2.2 setup on the iPhone 6S is way better. I mean, absolutely trumps the 8-megapixel f2.2 setup on the iPhone 5S. And this is mainly because we jumped 2 generations. Of course, we can shoot UHD video now. We can shoot even slower, slow motion at a higher resolution. And all of this added together means that the camera on the 6S is really good. Neither of which do have OIS, so unfortunately whether you go for the 5S or the 6S, they're not going to have OIS, which is optical image stabilization, but if you go for the Plus model of the 6S, so the 6S Plus, you will get optical image stabilization. What this means is that when you're in a darker environment where the shutter needs to be open for a little bit longer, you're going to see more shake and more blur in your images, and also in video it's going to be the same. But with video, it's not just the dark environment, it's every environment. If you're holding your phone handheld, it's very likely that those little shakes that your hands make will come up in the video, thus making the video worse to watch. And you can correct that in video editing software, but it's not quite the same as having it truly on the sensor or on the glass, which is something that a lot of higher end phones have, and pretty much every high end phone has nowadays. But the 6S does have a way better rear camera and a pretty good selfie shooter as well. It's got a 5-megapixel selfie shooter as opposed to 1.2 megapixels on the 5S. Now, whilst both phones are capable of running iOS 11 or whatever we're on now, I do keep them on iOS 10 due to the fact that I'm really scared of actually putting iOS 11 on these devices due to the bugginess. The 1750 mAh battery in the 6S is only marginally larger than the 1560 mAh in the 5S, which surprised me at first, considering Katie and I both agree that battery life is way better on the 6S. More than 155 mAh difference, that's 10% larger by the way, and you get way more than 10% the battery life. Screen time on the 5S is around 2 hours now, which is really bad. The battery is degraded a lot and shuts down early, and with the 6S it's about 3 to 3.5 hours of screen on time with the same kind of use, which is really good considering that tiny 10% increase in battery size. Now, the performance of the 6S is way better than the 5S, and of course both are 64-bit, so going into the future they should get software updates for a little bit now, with the 6S obviously pushing that a little bit further. And I believe that performance gain that you get on the iPhone 6S is way better than what you would see on a piece of paper on the spec sheet. The performance is just out of this world compared to the 5S, and will give you a better experience in playing games and multitasking and stuff like that. The fingerprint scanner on the 5S is way slower than the 6S also, because it's the first gen of Touch ID versus the second gen of Touch ID. So at £225, it's hard to not recommend the iPhone 6S due to the fact that you're getting really good hardware and really good software together in a device that is still quite modern. It's the last iPhone with a headphone jack. Weird that I'm saying that now. If you don't want a dongle, go with the iPhone 6s. And if you really can't stretch that kind of money and you're coming from like an iPhone 4, 4S or 5, definitely go for the 5S. And I'm not just saying that because, you know, well, you got a fingerprint scanner, oh, slightly better camera, maybe a bit better build design. It's mainly because it's 64-bit. And that's going to make a huge difference going into the future, not only in performance, but also in the support that the software that Apple delivers is going to affect it. Alright guys, it's been your boy Ryan Thomas. Thank you so much for watching this video. If we could get to 10,000 subscribers, that would be awesome. So please do subscribe if you're new around here. Never miss a video like this one. Please do like or dislike based on your thoughts, and comment again if your thoughts are a little bit more than just a like or dislike. Thank you so much for watching again. My name has been Ryan Thomas, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.